And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at a game called Littlewood. And that's Little with a Y. This is a card game from Michael Schacht, who's well known for making card games. One of his most popular card games is Crazy Chicken, which was reprinted as Drive, which was reprinted as actually several games, also reprinted as Littlewood. That's right, this is a reprint of a classic game from Michael Schacht. So you might already have one of those other card games, but you might not. You know, this is a simple card game that plays for 2 to 4 players. But I'll tell you going in the game, and I've already played many other variations of this, that this tends to play better with fewer. Like, it's a really good 2-player game. I like it pretty decent with 3. With 4, it loses a bit of its luster. Let me show you the rules first, and then I'll tell you why. In this game, you're going to have a bunch of forest cards out, prey cards, actually, and they have A, B, and C, so the front row is A, then B's, and C's, and that's randomly out there. You're going to have a deck that is made up of gang cards. There's a 120 card deck with 6 6s, 7 7s, 8 8s, 9 9s, 12 12s, 14 14s, 16 16s, 18 18s, and 20 20s. You're going to shuffle these. Everyone is going to get 3 of them, and then you're going to take the remainder and make 2 draw piles out there. Now, on a player's turn, they will first draw 2 cards. They need to come from 2 different decks. As the game goes by, there's going to be discard piles, so you can draw off the top of the discard pile also. But when you draw 2 cards, they have to come from 2 different places. So if on top of the 7s and 8, it doesn't matter if I want that 7 or not, I have to draw the 8, and then I have to draw a card from a different pile. Then, after you draw your 2 cards, you must discard a card or play gang cards. When you play gang cards, you play 2 or more cards of the same number. So, for example, I could play these 2 14 cards in front of me. When you play this, a couple things happen. First of all, you get a prey card from the middle, so I could take this one. Why am I collecting these? Well, some of them give you special abilities, like this one lets you draw a card, this one lets you discard a card from somebody else, etc. But at the end of the game, when you have these collected, let's say these are the ones I have at the end of the game, you're going to take the number of different symbols you have, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and multiply that by the most of one type. In this case, I have 2 of the same type, so 2 times 5, that would be an additional 10 points for me. That's why this card's great. It's a star, counts as a wild of anything. Now, you also, when you play a set in front of you, so let's say I have 2 18s in front of me, somebody else could play a higher number of 18s. They could play 3 18s, or they could even play 4, play any number, as long as it's more than me, but they couldn't play less than me. So you are trying to, when you play one, you want to get these out as quickly as possible, but you might want to build a bigger set than somebody else. So when that happens, let's say I play 4 18s and you had already played 2, you would need to take that pile and put it on one of the discard piles, which might mean you get to draw it on a future turn, but you're still not going to be able to get all of them back, but you might be able to get them back. So if, for example, I have 3 9s in front of me, I can feel pretty confident because I know there's only 6 9s in the deck. Now, why is this important? The game will end when these cards are all gone, or when one of the draw piles is gone. And at that point, each gang that you have in front of you, you get the points for that gang. This is 18 points if you have it, 14 points if you have it, 9 points. You'll add those to the bonus points from the prey cards, and whoever has the most points is the winner, although the rulebook recommends that you could play multiple games and add your scores together. Now, I like the artwork for the game. The artwork is cute, it's silly. I will say that the terminology in the rulebook is weird. Calling these cards prey cards, now technically that's true, I guess, for the animals as far as this is prey, but that's not normally the term we use for it, so it just comes across as a very weird terminology. I also While these busy backgrounds kind of obscure the art a little bit, not too much. The card quality is fine, white border. It's not linen finish, but it seems fine enough for playing this game. The rules were pretty clear, other than I kept getting confused about pray and gang. It didn't help that at least one time they referred to one as the other in the rule book, but they're pretty easy to understand. So here's my reasoning as to why this works better with 2 players. And that's because if you play with 4 players, it's really easy to kind of get hosed over by just not getting any points, which I guess in multiple games would clear up. But in a 2-player game, it's real tight. If I play 4 18s, and you have to discard your 3 18s. It's now your turn. You can pick up one of those 18s. You might already have one in your hand. You're not too far off from taking my 18s from me. So I have to consider very carefully, maybe I will wait until I have 5 18s, because you playing 6 of them is more difficult. So there's just some really interesting things there. And also, when you discard a card, which pile do you put it on? I'm going to try to put it on top of something I know you want so you can't get it. And again, that works really well in a 2-player game. And okay with 3, but really well with 2. In fact, me and my wife, I did not play Lyttle with her. Actually, I played it with other people. But we played the drive game back in the days, and it was a really fun back and forth 2-player game. Now, this adds in the prey cards. Still just weird terminology. But it adds in these prey cards. And I think what the prey cards are supposed to do is they're supposed to make you play earlier, because the way drive was, and the other games, I'm going to keep saying drive because that's the one I played mostly, was you wait till you had big sets and put them in front. Once there's a certain number of sets, game's over. So why put out a smaller set when someone can take over? This is saying, hey, play those smaller sets. Yes, someone might take it, but we give you a prey card. And I don't mind that. That's okay. But I found the special abilities and the scoring for the prey cards to be a little convoluted compared to how simple the rest of the game is. I don't dislike the prey cards. I feel like you could play without them, and I don't think the game would be tremendously different, other than people might save their sets before they play them. Now, this game itself, Littlewood and all the games it's based on, basically is a classic game. It's one of those card games which has been out for many years now. I think well over a decade. I think a lot of people will really enjoy playing and using this game, and it's the kind of game that a welcoming game where people who've never played many card games, or they just play traditional card games, will get. How many of these cards are in the deck? Well, it says 16 on it. There's 16 of them in the deck. Do I want to go for the 7s because probably no one else will? Why not? But it also is only worth 7 points compared to the 20 points there. I think this game has been out long enough now, like we can say this is a classic. Is this the best version of it? I don't know. It's a good version of a good game. And that's my review, a good review. Could it be better? Probably. And I might not pick this over some of the other ones, Crazy Chicken Drive, but the theme isn't bad. Little, animals in the woods going around and going for acorns, I guess. Theme doesn't matter, it's just a card game. But it's one that I've enjoyed for many years and still enjoy now. I'm Tom Vasel. You've been watching The Dice Tower. Dice Tower Judgment approved.